y'all. Y'all don't understand. For the last 20 minutes, I've been trying to go on live. Y'all, hold on. Let me get the lighting. Whew. The last 20 minutes, you guys, I was trying to go on live. Actually, since 12:25 p.m. I kept trying. It's 12:47. So, anyways, today for me is it's a heart. It's a throat, heart, solar plex, and a sacral chakra day. For you guys who do know, we just had a double Libra yesterday. So our sun and our moon was in Libra yesterday, and today we have a double Scorpio. Our moon and our sun is in Scorpio because today is the first day of Scorpio season. So we have just finished with Libra season, but we still got some of that Libra energy leaning over into to Scorpio. And the reason why is because you're using your brain, and it's time for you to make choices right now with your emotions. Scorpio is all about emotions and how you handle your emotions, how you get through your emotions. It's deep down. A lot of people don't know your emotions can unlock your spiritual side, cleansing and healing that you need internally. So I had journal and just let everything out that I have been holding in. So for a lot of you, you don't know me, but you're gonna get to know me. Let's see where to start. Okay. So for a lot of you who don't know, I'm 31. Well, actually, let me bag it up. Since I was a kid, my grandpa always spoiled me. My grandpa Robert and my grandpa Neil, they both spoiled me a lot. So being very spoiled as a child, but at the same time, okay, my lips feel extra wet for some odd reason. But anyways, my grandfather O'Neill was older. I did not know my grandfather was older. Like, my grandpa had my mom when he was 46. And he kept having kids after that because they are his first biological kids. I have an adopted uncle and aunt, Clyde and Lavender. Um, but anyways, since I was a kid, I was molested on my mom's side of the family and on my sperm donor side of the family. Since I was a kid, I'm talking about little kid, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm talking about this probably went on till I was like 13. Till I was like 13, 14. My mom left me plenty of times with her male cousins. And then my sperm donor side of the family, my aunt Sil, she used to keep me a lot when my mom was working and stuff. I used to like going over to her house. She was my favorite aunt at a time because I was always like around them. Um, her son molested me a lot of times when she left me within his care. So on top of being molested by my mom cousins, I was molested by my cousins on my sperm donor side, and then I eventually ended up being molested by my sperm donor brothers while I was in the care of my grandmother, which is my sperm donor's mom. And it's the reason why I'm calling him my sperm donor. But anyways, since I was a kid, I'm talking about little kid, I was being molested. No one thought to ask me any question. No one thought to check up on me. No one, like, watch your kids. That's all I'm going to say. So being molested as a kid, as I got older, it kept going, kept going, kept going, kept going, kept going, kept going. And then One of my cousins, his name was Paris. I remember this. He kept trying to have sex, like trying to impregnate me. And I was saved by the bell one day. I remember, I think I was 11, and my auntie stayed in some trailers right there by the post office. If everybody know where, if you know where Alexandria, Louisiana is, you know, the post office got some trailers like close by. It's like when you getting ready to go on the interstate, instead of you don't go on the interstate, you go straight. The old strip club used to be like by there. So they had went out to the club. I don't know what happened. My auntie and her friends left to go to the club, and he took me to the washing machine, and he sat me on top of the washing machine. Y'all, I was saved by the bell. They came right back, and when he seen the car, he hurried up and told me to go in the room. My aunt and them came. They stayed probably for another like 20, 30 minutes, and then they left. When they left, y'all, I played sleep the whole time. Like, he kept trying to wake me up. I played sleep the whole time. When he could not touch me or do whatever he wanted to do, because I would play sleep, he would start whooping my brothers and my cousin because he was watching all of us. And remind you, this is the time my cousin, he was on meth. And I don't know if they knew he was on drugs. I mean, I'm pretty sure they had to know he was on drugs, because during the time, that's when he was on meth. And then when I was very, very young, his brother, War, we used to call him War, he ended up molesting me. Well, he molested me a lot, making me give him oral sex. When I'm talking about, I was a little kid, like extremely little, and my mom used to leave us with him all the time. And it's like, ding, 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 like how something don't juggle in your head, like to ask your kids. You know, my mom didn't ask me anything really. If it was not pertaining towards what her husband was doing, she did not care at all. So that went on for like years. And then remind you, sometimes my cousin War, because we moved around a lot. My mom and my stepdad moved around a lot. Sometimes he would stay with us. So it would go on in the household when it was at work. People don't understand, and I didn't understand then. You know, when you're molested, is you're transferring spiritual energy and sexual energy into kids. Like, you have all these older people that are constantly molesting kids, and people wonder why they're pedophiles. It's the spiritual energy and divine energy that kids have, because people don't teach it and they don't understand. So kids don't understand it. And then also a lot of people leaving their kids in the care of their family members. It's so many of you that's probably was molested by your grandpa, your grandma, your uncle, your cousins, anybody that you can think of in the family. A lot of people are molested by their friends, their parents' friends to be exact. And it goes on because we feel like we can trust people with our kids. And sometimes you cannot trust people that you grew up with. Sometimes you cannot trust people that you've known for years and known for decades. People that watch you grow up will sit here and watch you grow up just so they can touch you. So pretty much all my life, like my cousin War molested me, my cousin Paris molested me, my uncle Marcus, my cousin Goody. I don't think my Uncle John did. Because one night, like I was in the bed with my uncles and my cousin, and all of them was touching on me, except my Uncle John. And that went on for like a long time while I was over there at my grandmother's house. It's just, it caused a lot of internal and external damage within me, emotional damage, mentally damage, to where my behaviors changed. And as parents, please pay attention to your kids. Pay attention to your kids. Because a lot of parents, I heard a woman say she was tired of her son lying to her. Her son never used to lie to her. They were so close, and he changed. watch your kids. Watch when you let them go over to whose house they're going to, who's coming around. Pay attention to their body language, their actions, their wording. Pay attention. Because when I tell you, that went on for a long time. And I've been spiritually gifted since I was a kid. So I could sit here and tell you something that I should know. But you'll wonder how the hell you know that you probably wasn't even born then. I've been spiritually gifted since I was a kid. My family kept that a secret from pretty much everybody. If you was not in the inside of my family, you would not have known that, because that was not to be discussed. I used to wake up, my mom, I used to have nightmares so bad because I used to sleep talk. So everything that I see, everything that I went through, everything that was in my head used to come out. It used to come out while I was sleeping. Or sometimes I would sleepwalk. Sometimes I would sleep with my eyes open and get to talking and did not know what the hell I was saying. I knew what I was saying, but didn't know what the hell I was saying. And I used to wake up a lot of times, even if I wasn't sleep talking. I used to wake up a lot of times. My mama she used to have white and red candles over me saying something. And it's like the moment I flicked my eyes over, she'll stop. And then she'll get up and leave. And that went on for like a long time. I used to always catch my mom hovering over me with red and white candles. So today, I just felt the need to get that all out, like when I was journaling. And to say to a lot of parents, in order for you guys to heal and to grow, you have to speak about what happened. You don't have to speak about it to everybody, but you need to journal. You need to seek a therapist. You need to seek the right therapist and the right counsel, because I have to tell you that you have a lot of people that working with those people that don't want to see you heal. They don't want to see you prosper, because they don't want you to teach your kids. They don't want you to lead your kids in the right direction, because again, I wasn't taught, I wasn't led. I used to have to tutor all my cousins and my siblings and brothers growing up with math, English, spelling. No one was there to help me. So I was the one who always have to figure it out. Like, imagine you got an aunt with 4 kids, you got an aunt with 2 kids, you got an uncle with 2 kids that you don't see, then you got your siblings, and you having to help them every day, all day after school. You have no one to check your homework. You have no one going over your stuff with you. You have no one making sure your stuff is right. My mom didn't even used to ask for my she never used to ask for my report card. Like, she didn't ask for my progress report. Like, she probably started asking, I think when I started having speech therapy when I was a kid, I guess that's when she used to start asking for like little progress and report cards, because they was talking to her about it. After that, I was pulled out of speech class because I had a speech problem. Like, I couldn't pronounce my CH, my STs, and my SRs. And then like certain stuff like R, like my R's would sound like a W when I was a kid or whatever. Like, I would say wah instead of ruh. So because I wasn't being taught that at home. Again, my mom had 3 kids by the time she was 19. Turned around and had another child after she was 20 something. And it's like continued. Like, my mom been pregnant 5 times, but it's only 4 of us. Stop chasing waterfalls. Stop chasing behind a man or a woman. Focus on what's on your plate, because sometimes it does affect your kids. And my whole life, my mom used to beat the shit out of me. My mom, my grandmother used to make my mom beat me. My mom used to kick me, punch me, hit me with shoes, hit me with hangers, anything that she can get in her distance. And then sometimes she'll do it for no reason. Like, I knew my mom didn't like me, and because it was obvious, I'm the only one with a different dad. And any chance that she got, she always want to talk shit. Oh, you're going to be just like your daddy. You're going to be just like him. You're never going to be nothing. But out of all 4 of her kids, I'm the only one that accomplished graduating from college 1, 2, 3 times. I'm on my 4th time right now. I'm the only one that got certifications. I'm the only one that actually taking my stuff serious. But anyways, being molested a lot by family members, it makes you not trust people when you have kids. And one thing, I would never want my daughter around my brothers. because I got one brother that beat on women, because growing up in the household, that's all we seen them fight. And then I got another brother who can't keep his hands to himself. So, and he picked up a bad habit from his dad. Both of them did. So my mom tried to, like, when I was at work, I used to, so it happened twice. I got off early. And of course, I'm about to read my daughter, first of all, because I didn't like my mom. My daughter used to always want to go to my house, which was who she called Mo Mama. And my mom was considered Mo. Since a baby, my daughter didn't like my mom. Hell, I didn't like my mom. But my mom used to always try to come and get her, trying to, oh, grandma, Gigi, baby. Anyways, so when that happened, I got off and I see my brother trying to drive. He was driving off, and I passed him up, so he hurt and drove back. And then he had Monica, my daughter, with him. And I looked at my mom. I said, "Why he got my child?" She goes to myself, "Oh, I didn't know he left." How you don't know he left out the door? You sitting right here on the couch. Because it's been several claims that my sister and her friends have made about my brother. And then there's some stuff that I seen as well. And then my mama keep trying to turn a blind eye with my brother being a pedo. Yeah. And then I had to go off on him one time when it looked like he thought he was about to do something to my daughter. No, I don't want no male with my child, left alone with my child. I don't know them. I don't care if I do know them. I still don't know them internally, brother or not. And my mom, like, I used to have a big problem. My mom used to kick me out the house when I was a kid. I'm talking about, y'all, when I was in the 6th grade, 7th grade, junior high, all through high school. She'd kick me out the house and then call the police and tell the police I ran away. Like, she'll jump on me, put me out the house, and then tell the police that I ran away. And one day, I remember this because Stevana Easton, I was going to her house. Her mom was on the phone. Her mom heard the whole thing. And her mom said, just come to my house. Just come to my house, Brianna. So I was on my way to her house. My mom snuck me with my mom. First of all, she would put her ring on her fingers. Like, when me and my mom had the first fight at 14, she must have realized that she could not whoop my ass. Y'all, ever since that one time I fought my mom when I was 14, only because in self-defense, because she kept hitting me and I didn't do anything. And remind you, I used to get beat a lot. Like, my mom slapped me, yanked me by my hair, throw me to the, literally. And my stepdad used to tell her, when Bree get older, she's going to beat your ass because you keep treating her like that. And my stepdad kept telling her. And that morning, it was the first week of my freshman year at Tioga High School. And me and my brother was arguing. And my stepdad told us to shut the hell up or something. He said something. And my brother said something else, because how our room was, we can sit here. I can look out my room and look down the hallway and see their room. So he said something, and I think I said, "Boy, shut the hell up." But of course, boy, my brother's nickname was Boy. And my stepdad said, "Bree, what you said?" Before I could say anything, he gonna say, "Oh, she told you to shut the hell up." My stepdad cussed my brother out because he knew that's not what I said. He knew I was talking to my brother. So then my mom came through the house as we was getting dressed for school, getting ready to go down to the bus stop, whatever, because she left somewhere and then she came back. And then as soon as she ran through the door, my brother come, "Oh, Bree told Pooh to shut the hell up." And this is something my brothers used to always do, because as kids, they knew she didn't like me because basically she expressed that a lot, and how she used to always mistreat me. So when that happened, she took off her shoe and tried to slap me in my face with it. And y'all, I caught her hand and I threw the slipper. Like, it was just a natural reflex. So then she tried to slap me and I caught her hand. And then I don't know, like, how we was. I don't know if I threw the first lick or she did. After that, it went downhill. And then my stepdad came, I seen him peeking through. And he gonna say, "I told her Bree was gonna whoop her ass." And then after that, my mom called her mom. And then her mom came down there. And they try to call themselves trying to jump me, but while they're jumping me, the whole time they start pulling my hair out. They both start yanking my hair out, start scratching me in my face. And then my grandma told her, and I called the police and tell the police that she jumped on you and that she's in here pulling her hair out. Like, y'all, they try to get me admitted in a mental institution, and it happened twice. And when I went there to Central Hospital, I told them what happened. And it was like, oh, that happened. I said, yeah. I said, my grandmother coached her to do that, and then told her once I get here, you guys need to put me on medication so she can get a check for me by saying that I'm mentally ill and saying that I talk to dead people and spirits and stuff like that. So the doctors are listening to me. Not only am I telling the doctors this, I'm telling the doctors this right while my grandmother and my mother is right there. And that's when the people is looking, and people say, we don't think nothing is wrong with this girl. We don't think she's mentally ill. They kept me there at Central Hospital because they had a spot where kids go, behavior problem kids, basically for juveniles if they didn't want to send them to the juvenile, jail when that happened. And I was there, and it's funny because some of the people end up knowing my family, and they was like, your grandma been like that. So long story short, I ended up getting out within a week or two, going back to school. Ever since then, that happened when I was 14. Every day, my mom and my siblings used to bully me. They used to pick on me. They used to hit me. My mom used to make me clean the whole house by myself. Any little thing, my mom used to try to do, like just to pick with me. And then we'll start fighting, and then she'll tell the police I jumped on her, and they'll come again, and then she'll kick me out the house and say I ran away. Like, y'all, this happened my whole teenage life. And remind you, she was putting me out the house way before I was even 13 and 14, because she felt like her husband wanted me or something like that. There's another thing that happened with my mom, I guess, because it happened in their household. So that caused a lot of blockages mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, because somebody who used to love God and go to church and used to sing, who had a nice voice, anything that I was good at, my mom used to make a problem. Like when I used to do sports, I did pretty much almost every sport. She used to do something to try to provoke me so she would not have to pay for me to do sports. And then majority of the money used to come from my grandfather. She was getting the money from my grandfather and then just keeping the money half the time. So it's like growing up in a household with a devious mom. Not only are you spiritually gifted, everybody know you spiritually gifted, and the only time they want to know something if they can benefit from it, and then try to sabotage. And a lot of people didn't notice my family was into spirituality, tarot. They do it behind closed doors. My mom, she does witchcraft. And the only reason why I noticed is because 3 spiritualists contact me. Didn't even know these ladies. They wrote me on Facebook and Instagram telling me, hey, your mom is going to try to kill you. Your mom is doing witchcraft on you. Your hair is falling out because your mom has got a string of your hair. And a part of me kind of knew it was true because I never had hair problems. I used to have long, full, thick hair. And then all of a sudden my hair would start, getting short, breaking off. All type of stuff was happening. So my hair was long and short, like all the time. And one of the spiritualists who I did not know tell me, like, yeah, your mom is doing this work on you because she's trying to steal your fortune. And I'm like, she hates me, but I know she don't hate me that bad to where she'll do witchcraft or try to kill me. Y'all, my grandfather died after I had made 22, because the whole time all this was going on, my grandfather knew. And I was talking to my grandfather, letting my grandfather know what was going on. He never told them what I said. I used to be so happy. My grandfather gave my mom $1,900 when I graduated. She stole the money out the envelope and gave me an empty card. When I got ready to go to college, my grandfather gave my mom $5,000 to give me a car. She did not give me a car. I had to pay for my own car. My grandfather gave my mom more money to give me another car. My grandfather found out from me that I've been buying my own cars, that they weren't doing anything. So during this time, my mom was the beneficiary on my grandfather estate, because my grandfather he worked for the Federal Civil Service for 23 years, and he worked for the United States Army for 22 years, and he still, up to the time he died, he worked for Role Play, which is on Fort Polk in Leesville military base. Him and my step grandmother, Ming Suk Anderson. Yeah. So every year, every few months, I had to, we had to update information. My grandfather would get it from me. He'll get everybody's name, how to spell it, from my little cousins to his kids, their birthday, and then he'll get my social. And every time he got my social, he would always say, yeah, because when something happens to me, you're going to get a call and you're going to get an envelope from an attorney. He used to always tell me that. And I'm like, Grandpa, are you dying? Because I used to always tell them anyway. I was like, hey, you guys need to go visit your dad. Something's wrong with his health. And I said, I think he's dying. So this went on all the way to 2013, all the way to 2015. 2016 came, and this is when he passed away. Before he passed away, a month before my birthday, I was 21, and I talked to him, and he kept saying, I'm not going to always be there, but I have to make sure that I have your information and your number and your address up to date, because anything could happen. And if something happens, people have to reach out to you, and you're going to get a brown envelope. So I got on the phone with my auntie, my mom, and told them what he said. So they rushed down to see him in Leesville without even telling me. I found out the next day from my auntie. And then my other auntie wanted to go down there. And they were trying to get information from me from what he said. Anyways, so now my throat chakra, trying to block. Anyways, after my birthday, which was April the 14th, 1994, 4/14/94, all fours, is when he finally told everybody. I had made 22, and after that, he waited a few weeks to tell everybody that he was dying and that he'd been having prostate cancer since I was 8. And when I remember, because when I was 8, I told them something was wrong with grandfather's health, because I used to always be at my grandfather's house. Like, always, baby. When I tell you, who? And that's when I started staying with my mom doing like more often. And yeah, he had prostate cancer. He let them know, all these years that she'd been telling y'all something been wrong with my health. She was telling you guys the truth. Man, do you not know that mom and his and my other 2 aunts start going to see my grandfather every weekend. And I'm saying in my head, that's just so sad. It's like y'all waiting for him to die. So something happened between him and his him and his wife, Ming Suk, which is my step grandmother. I used to call her Grandma Kim. I never had no problem with her. She never had no problem with me. But her and my grandmother used to beef. My grandmother Jacqueline used to beef behind my grandfather's money, So they had problems or whatever. And then my mom had problems with her because she wanted to run behind her mom or whatever. And in May. So I remember I was working at Outback Steakhouse, and I ended up having to take some weeks off because, like, emotional, I was not there. And he kept telling me, I have to make sure you come to the hospital. When he admitted himself in the VA hospital, make sure you come. He used to try to wait to talk to me on the phone when they wasn't around, or try to catch me in the room by himself, which I already knew because he told me, and then the last time I was at the VA, he's like, yeah, make sure you come, every day, or, try to see me so the lawyer can come here or something. It was something pertaining towards a lawyer. Well, when my grandfather died, he didn't trust his wife to do everything, so he left everything for my uncle Tommy Anderson to do for his whole funeral. The will was not supposed to be read because, of course, I had to be there. My mom and my 2 aunts, we went to Red River Seafood, which was in Pineville, Louisiana. We went there, and our time there, what he was saying in the room to me, and I was telling him, he said I have to, make sure that I'm at the house when mail comes, because it's going to be a brown certified envelope, and that I have to sign for it. I'm going to have to show them my ID, and then the lawyer's going to reach out to me, and they're going to contact me, and basically it's going to be some stuff in there for me. And then my Aunt Moon and people was like, well, did he mention anything about us? I was like, nah. I said, he just told me that. I said, that's why for years he's been making sure I have an update. So my mom is across from me. And during this time, I'm grieving because he's dying. But it's like they was in a good mood or something. And the way she looked at me, like she had a nasty attitude. Then it reminds you, I was staying with my mom at this time. So the next day, she gonna tell me, oh, you don't need to go to the VA hospital. I don't know why you think that you need to go to the VA hospital. You're not grown. You need to stay in a child's place. Remind y'all, I'm 22 at this time. So she told my aunties them not to come take me to the VA hospital. So I called my grandfather to let him know. And so then she tried to hurry, and like I was in the house getting dressed, and because my auntie was supposed to come take me, my mom and jumped in her own car, and left me there. And then when I called my auntie Nicole gonna say, oh, well, your mama said to come get you, that you don't need to be up here with adults and this and that. Come to find out, my mom had got on the phone with my Aunt Greta, and my Aunt Greta had talked to my Uncle Tommy, and my Uncle Tommy and my Aunt Greta was talking about the will, and my Aunt Greta told my mom about the will. Long story short, when all of that happened, I was not there because my mom would not have let anybody take me to the VA hospital. She would not let them come pick me up to take me there. And she would purposely doing stuff, to be mischievous, like to be hateful. Because at that time, I did not know that she used to be the beneficiary before me. I'm just thinking, okay, my grandfather left me something. I don't know what it is, but it must be a lot of stuff, because he kept saying he needed my social to transfer stuff over. I'm 22. I didn't know what that means. But of course, everybody in the whole family knew I was my grandfather's favorite. But he didn't favorite. I wasn't just his favorite. He favored me. I listened. I was intelligent. I was wise. I was very loving and kind. I used to call and check on my grandfather. From the time that I could remember his number and know my social security number, I used to call him. I used to call him a lot. Pretty much almost every day. I used to call him, get out of school and call him. My mom and her stepdad would be cussing and yelling and not even knowing I'm on the phone. They'll come at, who the hell you talking to? I said, Grandpa. Their whole change of stuff would stop, and then they'll get quiet, try to follow me around the house to see what we was talking about. So yeah, and then I guess I kept telling my mom, did the mail come? Did the mail come? She's like, no, why? Like she started getting mad, started having attitudes. She started doing little stuff, and my stepdad is looking at her like, you can tell she was hateful, but whatever they was planning during that time, my stepdad wanted her to shut up, because she would sit there and say like little stuff, like, oh, Bree got money, she better go find it. Bree got money, she better go find it. Like she kept saying stuff like that. So they let me know, ding ding, okay, my grandfather passed. He left me some money, and you know about it. You're sitting on it. So during this time, my hair had started to fall out real bad. Like my grandfather was still alive, but my hair started to for a reason. And then when he died, I felt him. Like I'm an empath. I felt him dying, and I knew he died that morning, because when I got up, I could feel my body was in pain. Like it was so bad. And the first thing I thought about my grandfather, and nobody was answering my phone calls. And then my mom came from the hospital and said, oh, Grandpa passed. I cried like the biggest baby ever. And that was because my grandfather was my best friend. Because I used to tell him all the stuff that they used to do to me. All the stuff. And then I kept waiting for after the funeral, I'm waiting for her to heal, to heal, but also to hear back about the will, when it's going to get read, the paperwork. I'm instead of asking people questions, no one's talking to me. It's like, oh, you need to talk to your mom. They all kept saying, oh, you have to talk to your mom. So the day of my grandfather's funeral, I'm by myself, and I wasn't eating. But everybody else is at the table eating. But I see all my grandfather's siblings and my mom and her siblings, they all huddled up at the table and they just kept looking back at me or whatever. So after the funeral, I was still in like so much pain. My mom walked up to me while I'm crying at the table to tell me, "Oh, we're gonna ask Grandma Kim if we can have his truck, and we're gonna just give you the blue Ford out there." I looked at her and didn't say nothing because in my head I had said, grandfather left me that truck, and I know he left me that truck because he asked me, did I have what happened to my car? And I told him my Aunt Moon boyfriend, he knew. My Aunt Moon car was in my grandfather's name. He was going to give me a Jeep, and then I had told my mom about it, and my mom called my auntie them. They got mad and called him and cussed him out, made him cry, and they made him get her a car, her 2013 white Impala. That's how she ended up with it. And I know this because my aunt Nicole said it. So when that happened, I already knew the truck was mine because me and him had previously just talked the last time I was at the VA hospital about the truck. So I'm sitting in my head, how you gonna go ask somebody about my truck? Because I know it's mine. So I talked to him about it the last time I was there. So during that time, long story short, I guess I don't know if they got the truck or what. In the truck they gave me that my mom blue Ford was broken down. I ended up having to pay to get it fixed. So I had to pay to get it fixed. I had to pay $1,300. So hold on, y'all. Let me pause this. Okay, so anyways, I got my other computer right here, but after that happened, I had to pay to get that car fixed. I kept waiting and I kept rushing. My mom was like, "Where's the envelope?" So I went to the post office, and the post office was like, they couldn't tell me if I had any mail because I needed to know where it came from. And let me stop y'all right here. My stepdad worked at the post office during this time. He was a truck driver and he was the manager. During this time he worked there, and then I think that year or a year after he started to work at the U.S. Post Office in Hesmer as a delivery person. So he delivered mail in Hesmer, but he drove trucks for the U.S. Post Office in Alexandria. The reason why I need just remember that because I'm about to let you know why I said that. So I kept trying to, go up there and try to get the envelope to like, hey, well, a lawyer's supposed to contact me with some information, and I don't want it to go to my mom's house because I think she's waiting on it because she knows I'm waiting on it. And I say every time I ask her about my mail, she'll have an attitude. And I said I've already, growing up, my mom and my grandmother used to always open my mail. If you got mail at their house, they used to open it. It's a federal law. They would still open my mail. So I was trying to make sure I was there a lot of times so she would not open my mail. And I remember this 2016, October 2016. This is going to tell you how I remember this is because my mom was high as hell on her medication. I think she had Oxycontin or Oxycodone, whatever it's called. She had that, and because she had got her teeth pulled out to get dentures or whatever. Why? Don't know. But anyways, after that happened, she was so high. I had to pay rent. For people who don't know, I have always had to pay rent in my parents' house. I used to have to give them $800 a month. Yes, I used to have to give my parents $800 a month to rent a room in their house. So, and this is around the time I kept waiting for the letter from the lawyer to get the trust from my grandfather, because he had just passed away. And she got mad and she snatched the money out my hand and said, because this is my motherfucking money. And she kept saying that. And my stepdad looked at her and told her all that wasn't called for. So she kept doing things like she kept walking around having an attitude because to my money, my motherfucking money. And I'm looking at her was like, what the hell is going on? Well, I guess during that time, they must have read and knew about the will, and she must have got the paperwork, which she still has the paperwork to this day. She's sitting on it. And everybody knows she's sitting on it. You got state and federal people that know she's sitting on it. So after that, my auntie and them start to contact me. Your mama ain't give you no money, this and that. I'm like, no. Why? They was like, oh, we was just asking. So something ended up happening. And my mom and my sister was talking at the table. And she was like, Mom, who your favorite kids? And she was like, well, boy, you, then Jay. And then my sister started laughing, like, oh, Bree, not your favorite. I said, I don't care about being her favorite. I said, because guess what? When it's time for her to need her ass wiped, her favorites better wipe her ass and take care of her. I ain't doing it. And I said it just like that. And then she made a comment, oh, you go die before I do. She kept saying that. After my grandfather died, she kept saying it. So for years, my mom literally kept saying that. And then she said it one time in front of my stepdad, you don't know, you might die before I do. And so pause. From the time I told y'all about, her getting bad about the money, my birth certificate and my social security card kept coming up missing. My driving license and my ID kept coming up missing. After my grandfather passed away. I don't know if the DMV keep of it, but I paid at least 3-4 times for an ID and a driving license over. I had to go to the courthouse twice to get a birth certificate. And then guess what? I found my birth certificate in my mom's room, and I asked her why she had it. She goes, something, you don't even need your birth certificate and social unless you get another job. And I'm like, why you need my social security? And I had both of them, you guys. So I took them, and then I had the copies that I had to go get. Y'all, why the hell all the copies I had went missing, except the original copies that I had to take back from her? Because when I'm not there, she'll go in my stuff. And how I know, because my sister used to tell me, like, she used to try to go through our stuff because my mom's mom used to do that to them. Okay, so when you get in the bad habits, right? So I'm waiting for years, like not years. My grandfather died in 2016. I turned around and got pregnant in 2017. So when I got pregnant, I found out I was pregnant with twins first. And then, I now know that was protection, because she was plotting to kill me then. Because my mom kept trying to get insurance on me, and I would never sign the paper. And then when I got my daughter, I had got insurance for myself. And when I got insurance on myself, I got my daughter was the beneficiary, but I had to set it up through the Heart of Louisiana a certain way. She goes and she gets Heart of Louisiana account. Anything that I have ever did, places that I have worked, my mom used to go work behind me. Like literally, after she resigned from Applebee's as a manager, she started to work every place that I went to. Like if I was to get my hair done a certain way, I don't like that. She'll make a comment, but then she'll go back and get the same hairstyle, get the same clothes. Like I noticed it when I was a kid. When we used to get into it, I used to tell her she always want to copy me, want to be like me. I used to talk to my mom like I was her age. That's how bad it was. But I got pregnant after I had my daughter. I don't know what happened. After I had my daughter, it's like my stepdad and my mom came into some money. And I'm looking like that nigga don't make that. He don't make money like that. He ain't neither one of them making no money like that. They start to buy 2-3 cars. Well, they used to pay a car note. I don't know if they paid car notes or what, but they had about 2-3 extra cars. They started to buy name brand clothes, gold watches, gold chains. They started to take trips. Every time you turn around, they was taking trips. And remind you, I didn't stay with them anymore because when I got pregnant, I ended up getting on housing, which I should have been without the house, because paying them $800, a month. But I ended up having my own house. They was taking trips, buying name brand bags, all of that. And they would spend, buying my sister Michael Kors, Coach bags, all these type of bags, shoes, clothes. They was eating out. They was spending money. And then to myself, They call themselves, start trying to look down on me. So my aide kept asking me, Bree, your mama ain't paying for you to go on the trip. Your mama ain't paying for this. I'm like, no. So I said, I didn't even know y'all was going on a trip. Both of my aunties, Nicole and Monique, I guess they was mad because she had literally got the money. She got partial of the money. They start, you know how you try to subliminal make statements? That's what they was doing. And I'm like, why would she have to give me money? Why would she need to give me money? Oh, we was just asking. But then I noticed they was doing it a lot. So in 2019, I woke up spiritually and I said, hey, I've been waiting on this letter from my grandfather. I could use that money right now while I'm going through this lawsuit. Me being me, I was immediately told, don't tell my mama anything spiritually. They told me that because again, I was still having my visions. I've been having my visions. I guess my family thought I lost my visions because I was sinning and because I was doing stuff out of anger and out of grief and out of pain. I was still having my visions and nobody knew because I never told anybody. And I seen everything go down with my stepdad, with my mom. I seen it. So in 2019, I started working on it. I started reaching out to my grandfather's sister, my grandfather's stepwife, and then his brother. His brother was avoiding me. I knew where my aunt Greta stayed at because I remember. That's one thing about my grandfather. He know I remember. And it's like spiritually, he was guiding me and protecting me this whole time because again, my grandfather used to do federal work. I didn't even know that. My grandfather stayed in France. My grandfather stayed in Russia. My grandfather, I didn't even know, like me finding all this out, looking for my inheritance and looking for the letters and finding baby, these people start telling me who my grandfather was and that they never knew of me and who I am. I'm like, well, my grandfather's private life, he always kept his private life a secret, not a secret, but private. And they start asking me, which child, who did I belong to? And they all looked when I said my mom's name. In the court, when I went to Leesville courthouse, baby, those people must have got scared that I was there and alert. They got the woman. She couldn't even wait till I left the courthouse. She's here. She's here right now. She's here. I'm listening to her. Remind her, this is the time that Juju was with me. So Juju was witnessing a lot of this stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, your grandfather, he had a will in place or whatever." Because he's like, how they acting. So then I'm finding it as I'm going through stuff. My mom and my stepdad, because what I did, I went to my aunt Greta, and I was like, yeah, I need everything of my grandfather's. It's mine. I know it's mine. And she looked. I said, everything my grandfather left is mine. And when I said it to her, I seen her facial expression, and that's when Juju was like, she know whatever that you talking about that's yours, she know. And the fact that she know that you know and you coming to her directly. Yeah. And she got on the phone with my mom and told my mom, because I can hear, I'm clairaudience. I can hear, and I was trying to listen to the conversation spiritually. And then I told her I want all my grandfather Bibles. Rule number one, I know who my grandfather was as a person when he healed and got his life right. My grandfather always talked about God to me, about lessons, about people. I listened. I heard him and I listened and I stored it in my Akashic records. And it's what I'm smiling like that because he know that I know. And this is something me and my grandfather have in common. The criminal justice system, that's been my thing. That's been my field. That's been my field before it was actually my field. In the second grade, I told my grandfather I was going to be a lawyer. I had goals. I still got goals. And guess what? I accomplished a lot of my goals because guess what? I haven't lost the case yet. And I don't even have a law degree yet, but it's coming. When I finish my second master's right now, I'll finish my second master's in April. Boom. My Aunt Greta go to my mom or my Uncle Tommy, whatever. She give me my Uncle Tommy number. my Uncle Tommy, he won't answer the phone for me. So from 2019 to 2021, he would not answer the phone. This man was a man. Me and Juju, we tracked where he stayed at. Like, I'm not gonna get into details, but I ended up tracking down where he stayed at. Didn't even know he stayed in Hesmer. Found out from my Aunt Greta, and then I put two and two together. He stayed in Hesmer, and my stepdad worked at the post office in Hesmer and worked in Alexandria post office. Why would you go get word from Hesmer? It's the mail. Trying to intercept the mail. Boom. Okay, so finally in 2021, July 2021, I was on the way to Juju house. I had just got off the phone with Juju. My uncle, who is my grandfather's brother, Tommy, calls me at 8 o'clock at night. And it's funny because I had just left my granny, Pearly Mae grave. And he started calling, this and that. Oh, your grandfather didn't have a will. He didn't have a will. Did you get the Bibles that I gave to Greta? This and that. I'm like, yeah, okay. Got off the phone with Juju. And I told Juju what happened. Juju's like, huh? I said, yeah, he called me trying to say my grandfather didn't have a will. And I said, what man worked for the Federal Service for 23 years and worked for the United States Army for 22 years and don't have a will? And I told my Uncle Tommy, I find that's a lie. And he said, why? I said, because my grandfather told me. I said, every few months when he was alive, we was updating the will. He was updating my name. He was updating my phone number, my address. He kept telling me to stop switching numbers because he needed to make sure. And when my Uncle Tommy looked, when he stopped on the phone, he realized like I knew they was lying. Because he gave the Bibles to my Aunt Greta, and my Aunt Greta gave the Bibles to my mom. You see what they did? My Aunt Greta and my Uncle Tommy didn't want to tell me what happened, why I didn't get what was belonged to me. They left everything to my mom to tell me. You want to know why? Why you got access to my money? These people lied and said I was mentally ill and I was delayed, and they convinced the lawyer and the judge, and I'm going to get on that later, y'all. They convinced the lawyer and the judge to give them a fake power of attorney. Then as of today, they waited. Because I was on them bad, I made the courts file a fake will. June 2023, they filed a fake will in the courthouse. My grandfather died in 2016. Why it took y'all 7 years to file his will? And guess who filed the will? The district attorney of Leesville, Louisiana, filed a fake will after 7 years, but he dated everything from 2016. But the dates on the paperwork and stuff say 2016, but it got the court stamp since 2023. And the only reason why I was going so hard because I'm not saying who, but I was ended up talking to a former FBI agent and gave them a rundown and handed them my grandfather's birth certificate, death certificate, his social. I handed them everything. I didn't even realize, by my grandfather working for the Federal Service in the U.S. Army, his will and stuff is in the system. This man told me, he's like, yeah, we can go to a database because it's called DEAR, their insurance and stuff. So the former FBI agent who has his own business in doing all of this, he told me what to do, and he was on the phone when I called the courthouse. And the courthouse like, oh, we have a will right here. And she's like, you can go to our website. And I said, ma'am, I'm on your website. My grandfather's will is not up here. And she's like, and who is your grandfather? I said, O'Neill Anderson. And she put me on hold. So many people start coming to the phone. Who are you to O'Neill Anderson? This and that. And I was like, ma'am, I done been in your courthouse like 3-4 times. Y'all still don't have a will. So he told me to file probate, the former FBI agent. I went, looked probate up, typed it up, looked up the Leesville version of it. I went to go take it to the courthouse to have it filed. The woman refused to file it, saying that, oh, you don't have a lawyer. I said, ma'am, I can. And the reason why I went, because they tried to say they had a will, but they didn't have a will in place. So when I went to the Leesville courthouse to file my paperwork, they rejected me, saying I had to have a lawyer. Y'all, why 2 days later, I called them and it's like, oh, we have a will. I end up I end up like, no, y'all don't. It's like, yeah, he left everything to his wife. His wife worked at role play on a military base, and this and that. That's how I found out what my grandfather worked there, because when they knew who I was, they start telling me like certain business, like where he was, where he worked at, where he stayed at, like stuff that I did not know because I never knew where he worked at. And long story short, when that happened, you know, they told me, and I waited to like I said, 2023. I went up there out the blue, boom, popped up there. Can I get a copy? Because that's my grandfather. I got it, and they was like, oh, I showed them the proof of his death certificate and his birth certificate. I said, that's my grandfather. How can I have this information? I said, and then on top of that, I said, you can call his church where we had the where his stuff was, because they know me. I said, his church know me. They know I'm his granddaughter. I said, they gave me this and this. And I said, the VA gave me this once I showed them who I am. And they was like, she was like, oh, they wasn't supposed to give you that. I said, ma'am, do you not know I've been having this information for years? She looked, I said, I've been having this for years. These paperwork, I've been having for years. Y'all are just not finding out about me having this paperwork. Long story short, I had seen that my grandmother and the district attorney filed the stuff in the courthouse. The same day they filed it in the courthouse, the judge heard and approved of it of 3 hours. How? Why you supposed to have a hearing? And then as a judge, you got to sit here and like, hey, why are y'all following this paperwork 7 years after? And then this girl been calling the courthouse. And the thing is, I know because the judge came out and he seen me. Yeah, it was so much stuff that was going on. It didn't make no sense. So during all this time, my mom and my stepdad, they kept trying to kill me. They had my stepdad send his cousin Sam Deal to try to date me and court me and stuff. And my mom and my stepdad, oh, that's the white people trying to kill you. The white people trying to kill you because you got this case going on against this police officer. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, something didn't sit right with me. My mom and my stepdad kept trying to tell me that it was the white people trying to kill me. But I'm like, nah, I'm working on this case. And then I'm working on this will. And everybody is giving my mom the stuff to give towards me. But my mom did not want to address me. She did not want to ask me, hey, are you looking for a will? She never brought none of that up. All the stuff that was given me that were belonging to my grandfather, she was just handing it to me. And then one day she handed me all the Bibles. I was in the house for like 2 hours. I'm talking about me, her, and my stepdad was in the house for 2 hours. My mom was getting ready to walk out the door. She said, oh, Brie, I got something for you. She went and got the Bibles. It's like, Aunt Greta told me to get these to you. She sat them down and walked out the door. You want to know why she did that? Because she knew I would call my Aunt Greta right then and there, like, hey, why she's giving this to me. But I was paying attention to my visions that I was having. So I knew it was, you know, possibly her and my stepdad that was trying to kill me. I had to make police reports about them about people taking lug nuts off my car. Y'all, I was supposed to be dead. I was doing 120 from New Orleans to Alexandria. That's a 4-hour drive. Me and this girl, Michelle, was in the car. They took my lug nuts off the night before, and the apartment complex lady where I was at, she helped them because I had just found out from HUD that Miss Pat cashed 2 insurance checks in my name. She cashed the checks, y'all. And I'm like, huh? All this was going on. What my parents did, they used this, what I was going through, to their advantage. Like, oh, well, we don't want her to find out that we've been spending her money and that we have a fake power attorney over this. We don't want her to know this. So we're gonna sit here and go cahoots with everybody to try to get her, you know, killed. Y'all, it was so much stuff that went on that transpired. Like, I had to write statements, police reports. I have at least 10, 12 police reports from the Alexandria, Shreveport, in Texas as well, because I had to leave Texas recently because of them. My auntie got lights and stuff in my name after my grandfather died. It's like everybody, when he died, everybody started going crazy because I was the beneficiary. But key thing, nobody was supposed to read the will until everybody was there. So all this went on for years. I'm collecting evidence. I'm collecting paperwork. I got these police reports. I have people working on this. So we're in 2025 right now. And in 2023, In 2021 is when they try to take the lock lug nuts, when they was breaking into my house, trying to steal evidence and trying to steal stuff that I had. My mom and stepdad was going to people who I was cool with. They went to Shakira and Juju, and they had my brother go to Shakira because he was serving her. And then Juju, my stepdad kept trying to get me to tell him where Juju stayed at. And then when I told him, I peeped game. What I did was, one night, Juju, that night that I told you I talked to my Uncle Tommy, I already knew Juju was doing some fake stuff anyway. I could see it, and I'm spiritually. So Juju had a gun in his bag. First of all, Spirit already told me somebody's going to try to kill me with an old Western gun. Yeah, why 2 days later, Juju showed me this gun, and I looked. I said, that's the same gun my spirit guides told me about. And he was like, huh? I said, yeah, they was like, somebody's going to try to kill me with an old Western gun. So I'm throwing that hint out to him like I already know. So he just said, that scared, ain't saying nothing. So that night, he was trying to plot to do it. I'm paying attention and I'm watching him. So as I'm driving in the sky, I see a gun with the signal. And I'm like, Juju. He was like, huh? Because this weeks went by. I said, Juju, you still got that old Western gun? And he was like, no, why? I said, because look at that cloud. Don't they look like that gun that you got? And he was like, oh, I threw it away because that gun was hot. That gun was hot. Y'all, so we went to Walmart. I played it off real good. We went and bought some stuff. I had gave him $500 because I had just closed one of the cases that I was working on. And I threw him $500. And he can tell you I threw him $500. He had got, he was getting him some clothes and some stuff and whatever he was getting. So I go out to the car because I put me and Monica stuff in there. He too busy in there spending money to realize, oh, she going back to the car. I went to the car and I opened a book, and in his backpack, I seen that old Western gun still there. I ain't say nothing. So we get in the car. I'm just filming. Mm-hmm. So he said something, and then I just left it. I left it alone. So then he gonna say, yeah, I gotta get up in here because I'm expecting a visitor to come see me tonight. I'm expecting Spirit to come visit me. Me being me, you didn't just told me you expecting somebody to see you, and I know you got that gun in your backpack. So I ain't say nothing, y'all. And y'all think I'm making this up, but I'm not. I got police reports to verify. I got recordings. I have text messages because they were sending so many people trying to harm me and kill me to try to set me up that no one knew I was still having my visions that I could still see. So I dropped Juju back off at home. This is what I did. Boom. I went up. When I went up and I took a left. I normally take a right. I took a left. Went through the neighborhood. He stayed on Massour. So if you from Alexandria, Louisiana, you know what Massour is. Massour. He stayed in the little apartments at the end. So I took a left and I turned around. So when I turned around, I doubled back and went a different way. And then I came back the same way. This is his apartment. I just drove past on this street and then turned. So as I turned, I'm going and I'm leaving. Why I did that, I didn't know why I did all that. So when I did that, I stopped at a stop sign. Y'all, a big ass eagle. I'm talking about a huge ass eagle. Remind you, this is 10 o'clock at night. A huge ass eagle came out the tree and hit my car on the passenger side where Juju was sitting at. And I said, there got to be a spiritual connection. I looked it up. When an eagle do that, when an eagle hit your car, that's death. Death means a transformation. And definitely somebody physically dying. It hit the door where Juju was, and it hit the door so hard that it put a little dent in my door. And I was so scared to get out the motherfucking car because when the wings opened, I'm talking about big ass wings. I said, God damn, I ain't never seen an eagle that big. Boom. Boom. So when that happened, I drove. Then I said, fuck this. I'm turning back around and going to Juju's house. I turned back around. Boom. As I turned back around, I'm going to Juju's house. I took a shortcut to get to his house. It's two ways you can get to his apartment as I'm going to the neighborhood. Y'all, why I see my stepdad truck leave Juju's house? I don't know if Juju was in the car or if Juju, or he just left Juju. I seen my stepdad white Dodge truck leave Juju house. And this is the thing about it. The car didn't even see me because when I hit my lights, I was on some Drake shit back then. Didn't even know I was doing Drake before he was doing Drake. But I hit the lights and I stopped because I realized that was my stepdad truck. And remind you, my stepdad don't like faggots. That's what he said. He don't like faggots. He don't like punks or whatever. So, but I knew something was wrong when he kept asking me about Juju. He kept trying to find out who Juju was. Anybody that I was dating, or if anybody that I was talking to, or somebody that they didn't know, they kept trying to find out who people was to get close to them. And I got a witness. I got a whole witness because they try to get cool with somebody else or whatever. Okay. So I seen the truck. I hit the lights and I'm just sitting up there. And then the truck drive off slowly. And then it hit a left. It went the same way I went. So, because Juju paid attention when I left, but he didn't see when I left, I came back and went the other way. So that means my stepdad had to pass me and Juju up when we was in the car, and Juju had to tell him that we was on the way to the apartment because there's no way he came that quick. How you pull up behind me, I double back, pull up behind you, and don't even know I'm pulling up behind you. So I seen it. I peeped the game. I didn't say nothing. So the next day, Juju kept trying to call me, trying to get me to go out of town, this and that, blase. And then he'll say, yeah, because if somebody after you, just make sure that and he was just saying, make sure it's something and make sure you scream at the top of your lungs. Baby, I am a real one. I'm gonna die trying. I'm gonna be like 50 Cent. You gonna kill me, but guess what? It's gonna be a fight. Somebody gonna be a trace or something. That's why they try to catch me off guard, because my family know. We gonna fight. We gonna we gonna do something, baby. I'm not dying without no fight. If I know I'm about to die, I'm about to do something. I ain't going out like no punk. So he kept trying to be cool with me, but I already knew what was going on. And so he kept saying little stuff. Yeah, because I know when people talking about me, people let me know when people talking about me. That's the same thing Shakira said, that I know when people talk about me, I know. I'm thinking to myself, when she said it the first time, I'm thinking, I'm listening to what she's saying. Like, she throwing it subliminal, but bitch, I ain't talking about you, so it don't apply to me. But then when Juju said that, and he said the exact same thing, the exact same way. Yep. I knew then. I said, that's why they keep trying to find out who I'm cool with. And so I was getting ready to move because the people kept breaking into my house, taking the lock lug nuts off. People were stealing my mail out my mailbox. It was so much stuff that was going on that that the police told me in order for them to do the investigation, the Rapid Sheriff Department, that I had to leave out that apartment because the man said if they're looking at federal charges, whoever they're looking at federal charges, they're not going to want to go to jail. They're going to try to come kill you. He said, you have to leave. So I ended up getting rid of pretty much everything in my apartment. I ended up staying with my cousin because I was getting to move. See, now the gag is I told my family I was moving to Texas, but a bitch ain't moved to Texas. A bitch moved up there to Shreveport. I moved 2 hours away. They didn't know. They're looking for me in Texas. And I dipped out on them at nighttime or whatever. I had went and I had explained to some people what was going on up there. And some stuff happened. So my family thought I was going to be there at my cousin, to stay at my cousin's house to help her with her kid. I gave my cousin my 60-inch TV, my 55-inch TV. I gave her my furniture. I gave her my bed. I gave her a lot of stuff in my apartment because she didn't have anything. Her mother didn't, she had just had her baby, she had just got her apartment and stuff like that. And she didn't have anything. And then that's my cousin. Shit. So I gave it to my cousin. And then for everybody else, I just sold some stuff. And then the guy who helped move, I gave him my Xbox. And then I gave him, I think I had an Xbox, my Wii. I gave him that. I gave him all my video games. And I gave him another TV up in there because I had 3 TVs. And I dipped out. Like, I was at her house probably for like 2 weeks. While I'm there at her house for 2 weeks, I found out that my other cousin is still pregnant. But I had already sensed that somebody had to be pregnant. I found out it was her ass that was pregnant. And then before that, they getting information, my aunt getting information. Y'all, why my aunt Nicole go tell me, she started bringing up the stuff of the will, because everybody knew I was looking for it. So me, I'm gonna pick you to get information. I'm gonna pick you. So I'm picking the whole family one by one. I'm not going to my mom at all, because guess what? I know you're getting this information that I'm looking for. I know you know, but you're not gonna address me about it. My aunt Nicole calling me every day all the time trying to get information. While you trying to get information, you're giving me information. She tells me out her mouth that, oh, well, Daddy, they told us Daddy didn't have no will. Daddy didn't have no will. And I said, oh, they said it. But she's in her same breath, she said, but I find that not truth, because your mama was the beneficiary before. I said, huh? Wait, I said, wait a minute. Because I know, because how Kiki house is set up, when I was talking to a pig, I had the phone against the stove while I was cooking. And I wasn't expecting for her to say that. And I had her on recording because, like I said, I used to keep recording people. Because, especially, I'm looking for this. She sat there and said, she's like, yeah, when Daddy died, your mama thought she was still the beneficiary. I said, I was the beneficiary. I said, I told y'all at the Red River. I said, Pig, you don't remember when we went to the Red River buffet? She's like, yeah, I remember when you sat there and saying Daddy said that you had, you were supposed to receive a certified letter from a lawyer. I said, I told y'all that how he was asking for my Social Security and stuff. She was like, yeah, but your mama thought she was still the beneficiary. Baby, she put the icing on the cake. Now I know why I'm not telling you, but now I know why you've been hating me since my grandfather died. Like, she have always hated me, but now I know why that anger came from. Now I know why you've been taking trips with these purses, shoes, getting your hair done, getting clothes, why y'all getting cars and everything. Her and her husband buying trailers and renting them out, and with my money. The fuck? And then during that time, me and my sister had got into it. And then she came to my house and she told me, she was like, yeah, she said, yeah, I got a trust fund savings. I got a savings. It got $50,000 in it. $50,000? Who gave you that money? Where you get $50,000 for in the savings? She was like, my daddy. Yeah. And I said it just like this. Bitch, your daddy broke. He ain't got money like that. That's my fucking trust fund money that my grandfather O'Neill left me. Y'all, when I said that, my sister's face changed. Like she shut up and her face changed. Like, oh shit, I done said the wrong shit. Boy, I got on the phone with my aunt Moon and my aunt Pig, and they both said, she's like, Michelle said what? I said, Pooh ain't got money. I said, that's my fucking trust fund money. I said, I bet that's partial of my trust fund money. $50,000. And then my sister knew where she knew where she had the saving account set up and everything. I'm like, And how long you knew about this? And she told me she'd been new for a few years. I was like, shit, your daddy them just start getting money. Nigga, we been broke growing up. Your daddy ain't got no money like that. What the fuck? $50,000 for you in the savings? So when I said that, my Aunt Pig and Moon them get on the phone. Then, they start talking, throwing subliminals. So I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, y'all been new. They've been sitting on my shit. And I put back together when I was talking, and I put it together. That's why for years they kept calling me, asking me, oh, your mama not paying for your trip. Oh, your mama didn't give you no money. Oh, your mama ain't buying you no bags. And then what got me, oh, your mama didn't get you a car. Oh, she gave your brother them a car. She gave your sister a car. They letting your brother's friends drive their other cars. And you mean to tell me you ain't got a brand new car? So while they saying all that, it's going back in my head. This is why they kept calling me. Hey, please read me. Okay, hold on, but this is not the reading line. I'm actually going live because I'm going to leave this video up, and then I'm going to leave it up and tag some stuff in it. It's 2:00. I will actually start doing the readings at 3. So if you can come back at 3:00, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do readings at 3. But Yeah. So now my mom them they took the lock lug nuts off my car when they tried to kill me. They had my stepdad cousin Sam Dill unhooked the radiators under my car. I got the reports from the car shop. Because the woman had to call me, like when I left the car there, she called me like, "Hey, ma'am, your car wasn't running hot." I'm like, "No, why?" She's like, you might want to come down here, ma'am, because somebody unhooked the radiator underneath your car. Remind you, I had a vision the day before this that Sam Dill was going to come to my house. And I also, for 3 days before that, somebody kept taking the construction cone from the construction part, like, because the road was being worked on by my apartment. They took it and put it by my apartment. They were signaling somebody that I stayed there when I moved from Shreveport to Bossier, because I moved to Bossier. And then when I was in Alexandria, my mama called me one time and ask me, "Oh, where you at?" And I told her where I was at. All of a sudden, Sam Dill came there trying to pretend that he rented to me. They were trying to run game on a motherfucker that know about all type of games. I just don't play them bitches. So all that was going on. After that happened, I got all, and remind you, I'm probably gonna go live and pull out all the reports because y'all probably think I'm making this shit up. I'm not making this shit up. After I left, I moved to Texas from Shreveport. After the last time they tried to blow the car up and everything else. Yes. And and then they also turned around trying to break into my house. During that time, I'm thinking, okay, me and Sean just got into it. Maybe this is Sean. Because right after that, the car tires start going on flat. Somebody kept trying to break into my door. During that time, when they didn't know where I was at, didn't have no problems. Then all of a sudden, when I had the Volkswagen, my mom tracked the car and found out where I stayed at. And then she slipped up over the phone and said it when she was trying to make me give her money. She was trying to make me give her money for a car that she was not paying a car note on, but was lying, saying that she was paying a car note on. Yep. Was making me pay her $400 for a car that she was not even paying a car note on. Lying. And then found out not only did the radiator get unhooked, other hoses or wires was supposed to had other sparks or plugs, whatever, got unhooked. And the woman sat there and said my car was supposed to blow up. And I was like, "What do you mean?" She said the fluid liquids on these sparks. She's like, "Ma'am, your car was supposed to run hot to signal you that it was running hot." She said, "Ma'am, your car could have blew up." I said, "Ma'am, can you please email me all of that?" When she emailed me all that, y'all, why I text my mom, I text her. I had the number I had was 318-485-9052. So I had that line. As I'm texting her all this stuff, the first thing she gonna say, "I don't do witchcraft." Well, I find that hard to believe. I never said you did witchcraft. You're classifying it as witchcraft, but I already know you've been doing it. I addressed her about the radiator being unhooked. She did not deny it. When I addressed her about sending her and her husband sending Sam up there, she didn't deny it. She didn't speak on it. Remind you, I got text messages, so these can be pulled up anytime. A lot of people don't know this has been going on. So from 2016 all the way to now, my mom been telling people I've been prostituting, I'm on drugs. I leave Monica just with anybody, that she's worried for my daughter's safety and everything else. So the whole time she's saying this about me to different people, I got people messaging me, I got people calling me. She went to my grandmother's sister, my Aunt Brenda, my Aunt Janice, my Aunt Lizzie, and she's telling people I'm on drugs, just making up all this type of stuff. This started to happen after my grandfather died. Even my cousins on my sperm donor side, and my sperm donor called me to tell me that my mom called CPS on me. And also that she was telling people I'm on drugs. So I addressed her over years about this, and they're lying. Everybody can't sing the same tone. They can't sing the same tune. They can't have the same story. And then you telling these people at different times, I already know they're not lying. My mom is a compulsive liar. She's just like her mom. I done seen My grandmother get confronted about talking shit about her kids. And when I went and told them and they addressed her, she lied about it. I see my mom do the same thing her mom do. I have seen my mom and my grandmother, when they are addressed, they get the line. So for years, she been lying, telling people, I'm like, still to this day, like, she just found out. I got the text messages. She just found out in January that I stayed in Arkansas. She literally just found this out. She been calling me, trying to text me. She ain't been getting no response. I haven't been answering no, because around you, I changed my number on her. Changed my number twice to be exact. But she been calling and texting me. I won't answer. I won't respond to her. None of that. For a person who prostitutes, so for a person who's on drugs, for a person that you say is nasty, that you had a hard time with all their life, and the shit that you say about me that is very untrue, why would you keep trying to reach out to me? That's a sign of guilt. Because every time my life is going good, guess who come back in my life? My mom and my stepdad. And then I start having problems with cars and houses and stuff like that. Because guess what? I won't stop working on my inheritance in the will. And the fact that in 2013, I had to fill out a whole statement to a federal judge. I made a whole, I got a copy of it on everything that happened with my mom and what they was doing, about how it took me so long to figure out that it was them. And again, they didn't know I was having my visions. So I had my visions guiding me, letting me know before things was going to happen. So when things was happening, I knew who was doing certain parts of it because I was seeing it. I just wasn't sharing it with them. And I got the whole statement. I think 13 pages for me to fill everything out about what happened, when it happened, the dates and time, and who was all involved, my cousins. And remind you, when they took the lock lug nuts off my car, my stepdad told my cousin Tay, my step cousin Tay, oh, her tires is getting ready to fall off her car. I was driving and I turned around and I looked at him, and I got canine ears. I don't have to be around you to hear. They didn't know I heard that conversation. And then when I heard it that night or that day, I found out my lock lug nuts was taken off my car. And so I had to write like 13, 14 page statement. And a federal judge looked at it. And I sent that to several other people. And so at this moment, my restraining orders against them is being currently worked on. So, yeah. And I've been working on this will and inheritance. And like I told you, I've been having to work with different people, not just all these different people, but spiritually with my grandfather, because I can talk to spirits. I cannot help this. I can talk to spirits. I've been like this since I was a kid. I've been having all my clairs since I was a kid. That's why my mom was mad. If y'all go look at what a matriarch is, I outrank my mom. My mom's spiritual gifts. People don't know about this. Yeah, they don't know about this. Why? Because they use it in a different way. My mom used to write bad checks and everything. If they go look at her background. But anyways, now judges and everybody is now realizing, hey, this girl was spiritually gifted. This is how she saw this off. Hey, this girl was not mentally ill. This girl is smart as hell. Not to mention she worked and closed on cases herself. Hey, we've been giving this motherfucker a runaround, but while we giving her the runaround, she's handling business to get stuff solved. Like, we're all at risk. God revealed to me slowly who key players was, who the key players were. But slowly, he showed me more people and more people and more people and more people. Sometimes, I'm saying this for you and me, we are meant or to change a system that's been running the same way. Because people like to bring up race. Sometimes it's not about race. Sometimes your own skin folk will go against you because you would do what God asking you to do in life. And they won't. People want the benefits, but they don't want to actually have to put the work in. People want to be the beneficial, but they don't actually love you for who you are. And my grandfather Cormer is realizing, being married 3-4 times, being a womanizer, he realized that my grandmother in her ways and her kids was his karma. Because I'm saying this, I believe my mom killed my grandfather in the VA hospital. And the reason why I'm saying this is because he wasn't supposed to die that soon. He had 6 months left to live. How do you die less than a month? A month and a half? I believe she did it. She knows I know she did it. So please watch people with your kids and remember what happened to you when you were a kid. Sometimes the people who birthed you, the people who raised you, the people who watch you grow will be the ones, your own skin folks, to harm you. And then sit here and say, oh, it's the white man this, it's the white man that, it's the white man this. Sometimes God lets stuff play out. Because if you look around the world, when crimes are being committed, who are the first people they look at? Your immediate family. And this is the weirdest thing. When I was settling my lawsuits, I told them that I wanted my inheritance. That was the one thing I told them. I'm not going to say which case this was. And I was like, I want my inheritance. And it was like, oh, you don't, like, I want my inheritance. And they kept trying to tell me something. I was like, well, I just seen the governor. There's like the governor not here. I said, I just seen Governor John Bell Edwards. I seen him. They was like, huh? I said, yeah. I said, you guys was expecting me to park in the front. I parked in the back. And I said I was late to this meeting on purpose just to see who's gonna come out the back door. And I seen him. I said, if you ask him, he'll tell you he seen me. And he tried to put his mask on. And they didn't realize, like, this bitch is good as fuck. But that's the God in me. We lose ourselves just to learn ourselves and to learn the whys, the when, the where, the how, the stuff they teach us in school. They just teach us in a different way. Because sometimes if you look at Hebrews, we need milk before we need the meat, that red meat. In Ephesians, it talks about your spiritual inheritance and what eternal life is. My grandfather wasn't perfect, but when it came to, he got to get, live his life, but learn from his mistakes and get closer to God and ask God for forgiveness. He got right. And he started preaching to the men on a military basis and start helping them. And his kids and his wife, his kids and his baby mama kept trying to make him go backwards. And what I mean was they kept trying to bring his past up. My grandmother bragged about my grandfather's finances and how she never had to put him on child support because anytime she called him, he was to bring her money and how much he asked for. And he didn't complain. He learned from his mistakes. That's why he didn't complain. But he also was trying to teach his kids. But my grandmother weaponized her kids against him for her benefits. And this is not what I've heard from him. My grandfather never talked ill. That's one thing I can say about O'Neill Anderson. Baby, he never he never talked ill of her. Even when I was talking shit about the whole family, about what they was doing, he never said any bad thing about them because he knew I could see and he knew I was seeing and watching everybody actions. Like, and a part of me, I used to want my mom just to go ahead and tell the truth. I used to tell her through the text message, just tell the truth because I already know you're making this harder for yourself for me having to go through all of this and get everybody involved just for you to see and keep holding on and stealing what's mine. I'm not lying. And then I addressed to her about who my real father is. and how she was molested by our Uncle Tommy growing up, y'all. I not lying. Text message don't lie. This woman sat there and said, Tommy? Who is Uncle Tommy? Bitch, I know you ain't retarded now. You don't know who Uncle Tommy is? The same person that you've been talking to and connecting with? You don't know who Uncle Tommy is? Like, I was like, yeah, this woman, she's sick in the head. And it's like all this time, I've been thinking about my stepdaddy. Ooh, he didn't realize how mental she is, and he stuck with her because she just do the same thing when he try to leave, talk about child support. That's a weapon. This is the key thing. This is why we are not supposed to have sex. This is why we're supposed to use condoms if we are to have sex. Because you be having kids with these people that's mentally fucked up in the head from their pain and their trauma that they've been through. Hopefully by the end of this year or the beginning of next year, I have my inheritance. Because all these fees that I've been paying and having to pay for this and pay for that and pay for this, oh my God, it can drive me crazy. But I like this mystery stuff. I like solving cases. For people who don't know, I do help people with cases, people that passed away. I don't know if she want me to say this. I'm not going to say I helped, but I let somebody know that their family member was murdered when the police ruled the case as a suicide. Then they turned around, and after I was telling her certain stuff and telling her certain stuff to do and telling her who the suspect was, and basically I'm on point with the suspect, they turned around. I don't know if they made her arrest yet, but she let me know they turned around and turned the suicide into a homicide. This is not the first case I worked on. My spiritual gifts are the truth. My abilities are the truth. I'm not bragging, but in my friend group, I used to watch people have sex with people, and I used to sit back and just know, ding, ding, ding. And my friend group, they used to try to say I was the messy one because I was the blunt one. Like, you can't sit here around me and talk about somebody like shit, trash, and then when they come around, and they want to know how everybody know their business, you sitting right here, oh, I don't know, bitch, you was just. But I hate the stuff that I had to go through, but I understand. And it makes me think about Lord Yahweh, who everybody knows Jesus. He was out here healing people and doing what God asked him to do. He was showing people his gift and how magical he was, and also letting people know that your sins don't define you. Your sins don't sit here and don't tell people who you are, but your sins, it shows people what you have been through, your pain, your trauma, how you think, what you probably was brought around. Because everybody is born light. And then you go dark. But you go dark for a reason. To every problem is a solution. But you have to evaluate the problems and evaluate the people and evaluate the situations. And then you have to understand people's character. And you have to make sure people's character match up with their actions, match up with their behaviors, match up to what they're saying. My grandmother sisters and my grandmother nieces, they knew I wasn't no prostitute. They knew I wasn't selling drugs. They knew I wasn't leaving my daughter just in running the streets. They knew I wasn't leaving my daughter in no house. They even told me that. We don't believe them. What's going on? And then I told them what was going on. I told my Aunt Brenda and my Aunt Liz and them all about the inheritance and everything else that was going on. And put my right hand up. Do y'all know when my Aunt Brenda asked me? After I told her everything, I said, oh, this has been going on after my grandfather died. I said, I have not been telling y'all anything. And the reason why my Aunt Brenda asked me that was because my mama went to her. It's like, I'm worried about Brianna. Everybody know how she treated me growing up, how I used to have to sleep on their couch when I was a kid and when I was a teenager. My mom used to put me out the house for nothing. Literally nothing. When some people say they didn't do nothing and stuff happened, that's the truth, because some people are jealous. Some people are jealous of their own kids. Some people are jealous that the man didn't want to be with them after they didn't got pregnant. My sperm donor was a pedophile. Literally. What you doing fucking on a 15-year-old and you 20? You 20, 21. And then he was saying, oh, all I have to do is bring your grandma some cigarettes, some beer, give her a little. Oh. So that was trafficking. So we picking up on trafficking now. Sometimes the government is trying to save you. Sometimes the government is trying to use you, keep you in the past. Sometimes it's your family members. Sometimes it's your friends. Everybody play a role. Find out who played the key roles in your life. My Aunt Brenda asked me. She asked me when I finished telling her everything about the inheritance and what was going on, about the car being blown up and everything else. Her exact words, oh, we knew you was gifted, Brianna. You used to talk to spirits all the time. You knew everybody's business. When she said that, it made me think, because every time I used to go to family events and parties and stuff, baby, same, I walk in the room with the older people, they all used to look, hey, Brianna. And I want to sit there with them. Go over there, go outside. They used to always send me outside. And I remember one time I went to my granny, who name's Pearl. Her name is Pearly May, to be exact. And I was saying something about pearls. What Pearl said, me thinking Pearly is pearls, not knowing a few years ago, I found out my granny mom name is Pearls. So I'm talking to my granny about pearls. She know I'm talking about her mama. And she used to shut down every time she'll talk to me and get quiet. I just sit and lean by. But I used to see how she was staring at me. And it's like, dang, I've been communicating with spirits and giving messages way before YouTube and didn't know what I was doing. But other people knew what I was doing. And I didn't know. And I was always told it was bad. But I ain't gonna lie to you, because I found out too many secrets. I used to find out people sick. Baby. When my mama wanted to know when her husband was cheating or doing stuff or what other people was doing, she used to run to me to get information. Yep. But my Aunt Brenda, who's my grandmother's sister, her exact words was, after I told her everything, she said, that's why your mama been coming by here acting like she was worried about you, this and that to myself, because we knew something was going on for her to be putting on a show. And then my Aunt Kiki, my cousin Sean, she starts saying little stuff like, oh my God, all this is going on. And I was like, yeah, they sent Pooh cousin, Sam Deal, to try to date me, to try to kill me, for me to stop working on this. And that's when she said, oh, they sent him to court you. I looked at her, she's like, yeah, they sent him to. So then my Aunt Brenda said, I got a question, Brenda. Do you think your grandmother was in on this? Out of all the stuff that I knew and I was figuring out the whole time, I was not expecting to think about that. I never thought my grandmother was in on it. But let me tell you how something happened. I left Texas before I moved to Arkansas. I went all the way to Louisiana. Why? I had a vision. I had a vision that my grandmother was going through my stuff. They using my stuff. My grandmother was filing my taxes. My mom kept trying to make sure my grandmother stayed filing my taxes for years. Why my grandmother got 2-3 different folders of the same stuff in my taxes? Like whatever she got with all my taxes right here, because I had to go get a copy. Everything from my taxes since I've been filing since 2013, she got a double copy. So I had a vision that I needed to go. Get on the road, go get your information. They are using your information for something. Y'all, I knocked on my grandmother's door. Guess what she had in her hand? A folder. She opened the door. She's like, oh, Brianna. Oh, did it? She said something. I was just thinking about you. I said, Grandma, I need my taxes. And I cut it very short. I said, hey, Grandma, I need my taxes. She looked at me. She's like, oh, I was just in your tax. I was just looking through your tax stuff today. I didn't even say that because the day before, I had a vision that I needed to go because she was going through it's something with my information. So I made her get all my stuff. And I looked, I said, Grandma, that got my stuff on it too. I need that one. She's like, oh no, this is double. I was like, it's double. She's like, yeah, I did all double your stuff. I said, you made copies? She's like, yeah, because just in case the IRS contact me, I'm thinking, why would they contact you for your stuff? They'll contact me. So everything that I have a file of my stuff, my grandmother still have another file of it. She was making copies. What I'm trying to get y'all to understand, I seen her doing it. She was doing it because she knew I was getting ready to come and get my phone. How would she know that? Or genetics running through the family. I share this story so you guys can know what I'm going through in life. And I'm still working. I'm still taking care of my child. And not only do we have a system coming up against us, we have our kin folks that's coming up against us because people are too busy worrying about themselves. They're not healing. And remind you, everybody who I just told you about, they're church people. They go to church. They church goers. I don't go to church, but I read my Bible. Because churches was within here. Because when church was first being made, it was being made for people to worship. Now it turned into a money grab. It turned into a sex ring, a pedophile ring. I'm disappointed in my own people who I've been fighting to help. Because we have to help ourselves. We need to go to God. And everybody got their own time. You ain't got to sit here and repent and fall to your knees. Take it slow because your time is not the same as my time. And my time is not the same as your time. And you probably starting on phases that I've been completed. And I'm probably on a phase that you complete now that, I didn't learn from. Different strokes for different folks. The wheels go forever spin. If you pay attention to that Bible and read it, and you come back and pay attention to tarot, you'll know. Hold on, I think I just got my package. Hey, is that your package?
I do have packages coming.
Yeah, because I was looking. I heard somebody coming out here, and I came and I seen the post they left, and he just had my stuff right here and your stuff right there. So.
Okay. Thank you for telling me. What's up, baby? Let me see.
Yes, y'all. That's my package. Amazon. Look, y'all. You can't say your girl can't hear, baby. I told you, God is like canine. They made it knock on my door. Nothing. He said my stuff in the other lady package right there by the steps, not by our doors, by the steps. And as I was opening the door, he was walking downstairs, walking down the stairs, looking at me. And then I had to knock on her door to ask her, hey, is this your package? Because he didn't put our stuff by our doors. He put them by the steps, and he dropped them off at the steps and took off. Shit. But anyways, please heal. Work on your chakras. It's important. You might not understand everything about spirituality, or you might not be interested in spirituality, but spirituality and religion go hand in hand. This is why the things are not balancing right, because we're not working on our spirit, but we're working on what people quoting us, certain stuff from the Bible. Read the Bible for yourself, because in the Bible, it talks about, I think this is in Ephesians. I think this is Ephesians or Proverbs. I think is one of them. Children shall not wrath. Wait, no, what is it? I just quoted this 2 days ago to somebody else. We should not act out and disrespect our parents. Basically, in long story short, we are not supposed to act out and disrespect our parents and wrath. But my mom used to always quote this. Oh, the Bible says you're not supposed to disrespect me, and you're supposed to do right by me, and you're supposed to sit here and do what I asked you to do. Bing, bing. I read that Bible for myself, baby. No, the Bible states that we're not supposed to sit here and be and we're not supposed to wrath. We're not supposed to be in anger at our parents. But it also quote, it's after it says that first round, but parents shall not provoke their children either. So every time you wrath or you sin within anger, if like the stuff that I was doing because my mom and my grandmother was doing to me all my life, it was causing me to sin. It was causing me to do stuff that I knew I wasn't doing, but I was doing it out of anger. I was doing it out of pain, and they was enjoying it. Laugh not cry later, because guess what? God is going to take care of them because he watched everything happen. And some people don't care that he watched because he watched it happen to them, but you were supposed to learn and make sure it didn't happen to your other kids. And you were supposed to be a master teacher and a spiritual teacher and guide other people. You're supposed to be a mentor. God picked the people he favor, not favorite. My grandfather favored me. He learned from his mistakes. I'm learning from my mistakes. They still haven't learned from their mistakes, and their greed, their heart is hard as a fucking rock, as a stone. You guys need the generation before us. You guys supposed to be knocking down barriers spiritually to teach us. Look at the music industry. Look at the industry. Look at the school system. Look at the criminal justice system. Nobody wants to fix the problem, because if they fix the problem, it's gonna end. It's gonna resolve itself. And guess what? Nobody will have a reason to steal, kill, or destroy the next person. They don't want to end it. People see your light, and they see what you can do, and they are intimidated by it. You want to know why they're intimidated? Because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're not trying their best. Some people see that you're the best dad, the best mom, the best brother, the best uncle. You're the best something that you can be, and that you're being in because of what you hear, what you've been through. And they envy that. And they envy it because they look at themselves as weak. They consider themselves weak because they couldn't do what's right. They couldn't learn. They couldn't get through it. They couldn't do things the right way. That's why a lot of you guys are target. We're target because they target Lord Yahweh. Question: how do you target Jesus for who he is, and you let somebody murder somebody and go free? That was the justice system back then. They was letting murderers free, but holding Jesus when he didn't commit a crime. The crime was being himself. The crime was healing people, being love and light, and showing people they can change. We are going what we're going through because what they did to Jesus. You want to know why? Because if everybody would have stood up for Jesus and would listened to what Paul and everybody was saying, and Simon and John the Baptist, if they would have listened and stood up, then we wouldn't be going through what we're going through now. If Judas wasn't a fake friend, the king would have never died. But he died physically, not spiritually. When people's like, oh, the rapture is coming. Where you been at? The rapture is here. The rapture began when Jesus. What do you mean? The rapture began. What do you mean? Read your Bible. It been started, baby. That moment he was on that cross, the spiritual warfare had already begun before that. What do you mean? You guys are already supposed to be repenting, but see, what a lot of people realize is you coming back in another vessel to learn the lesson that you did not learn. You're coming back in a vessel to clean the slate of a bloodline. You're coming back in a vessel to bring love and healing to somebody who was abused, who was molested, who was raped, who was neglected. You're coming back in a different vessel to heal people in different community and to show people that we all matters. Because when we all come together, the devil can't use nothing. Until then, the devil gonna use family. He gonna use race. He gonna use country. He gonna use everything in his can. He gonna use money. He gonna use cars. Anything. He gonna use diseases too. Y'all better start drinking tea, drinking broth, detoxing your body every 3 months. All the food that you pack up, baby, start going on diets. Get away from red meat. You ain't got to eat red meat all the time. Eat you some organic meat. Eat you something that's grass fed. Read the ingredients on what you're putting in your body. Drink you some water. Baby, leave them Cokes and Pepsis and Sprites that are goddamn long. Drink you some water or a gallon a day. Hell, for a lot of you guys, you need some water because your pee stink. I'm sorry. My delivery was wrong. The time to heal is now. And for people to keep pointing at your past and your mistakes, let them know you can talk. That's all you can talk about, baby. Talk about the moment here. Talk about the present. We all go through stuff that we don't want to go through, but we are to learn a lesson to make sure it don't happen to our kids, to our nieces, to our nephews. And some of you guys are hurting the most to the point that you don't care. You want it to happen to other people. That's how bad you're hurting. You can't be in the house of God being a hypocrite. I might not go to church, but baby, I'll be in that Bible. I understand it. I talk to spirit. Baby, I do my altars. And before you say something about altars, baby, go read your Bible. It talks about amethyst and tiger eye crystals in there. It tells you how to set up an altar, how to make sacrifices, and that's not wicked. God sacrificed his son for a lot of us to have a house, a car, and shoes, and new beginning. He sacrificed his son for us to have new beginning after we done sinned so much. He done sacrificed his son. And he forgave the people who killed his son. Sometimes we need to sit back and look at the bigger picture because the picture be right there in your face. It just don't be that goddamn big.